Hi, okay, here we've got an unseen on Caesar's leadership. This is a passage of, I would describe, medium level difficulty. Nothing too horrible or terrifying in this one. An incident in battle shows Caesar's leadership qualities. Why don't you take a look at this, pause it, and then go on to the next section when you're ready, and I'll talk you through each of the different sentences. The first one, Caesar erat imperator audacissimus, qui omnium ducum Romanorum virtutem maximam habebat. Periculum enim numquam timebat, semper pugnare quam fugere malebat. Okay, Caesar was audacissimus, was a very brave general. Audacissimus there is a superlative. Qui, relative pronoun, and the nominative masculine singular. Who, I look at the next words, I need to find my main verb, and I have it in habebat. Who had, I think for habebat it's always better to actually say had rather than was having. That wouldn't sound very good here. Who had the maximam virtutem, the greatest courage. It can't just be great courage, it must be the superlative, an irregular adjective superlative here. Who had the greatest courage, omnium ducum Romanorum. All three words in the genitive case there, of all the Roman generals. Periculum enim numquam timebat. Semper pugnare quam fugere malebat. For timebat numquam, for he was never fearing danger. Semper malebat. He always, now it is the imperfect malebat, he always was preferring, but I'm going to say he always preferred, pugnare, to fight, quam, rather than fugere, to flee. You've got there pugnare and fugere, both infinitives. Olim in proilio aquiliferum conspexit periculo perterritum atque fugere panantem. Okay, this next one. Olim, once, we look at the main verb, conspexit. You can tell that that's the perfect tense by the letter X, the X sound. It's the letter X, the double S sound. Once he caught sight of the aquiliferum, that's the eagle, that comes from there, the eagle, the chief, in this case, standard bearer in the fight. Once he caught sight of the chief standard bearer in the fight, terrified by the danger, and parantem, preparing to flee. So once he caught sight of the chief standard bearer in proilio, in the battle, per territum, having been terrified by the danger, atque and parantem, preparing to flee. Now there's a few different points in this sentence that are worthy of inspection. First of all, the word per territum. He caught sight of the aquiliferum, of the standard bearer, per territum, having been terrified. Now we can just translate that as the chief standard bearer terrified, but it is actually a perfect passive participle. And if you bear in mind that he caught sight of the standard bearer is the accusative, so the perfect passive participle must also be the accusative. Atque and parantem. Parantem there is a present participle. If it's a present participle, often we learn parans, preparing, audiens, hearing, but here it's parantem. Why is it parantem? It is parantem because again it's describing the standard bearer, who again is the accusative. So it needs to be and parantem, and preparing fugere, to flee. That's a fairly crucial sentence, I think, in the whole piece, because that's testing you on a number of different things. Quem ubi vidit Caesar manum suam ad hostes tendens clamavit quod tu abis, illic sunt cum quibus pugnamus. Literally, when Caesar saw whom, the relative pronoun there connecting. When Caesar saw this man, I think that sounds better. When Caesar saw him, tendens. Now here it's tendens. Again, it's a present participle, but you notice we don't have the tem ending here because it's describing Caesar. Caesar's in the nominative, so tendens is in the nominative. Holding his hand towards the enemy, clamavit, perfect tense there, we wisti wit, he shouted, quod tu abis, literally, where are you going away to? Illic, there, sunt, are those with whom we are fighting. We are fighting with them over there, I've said, just in case that sounded any better. Over there are those with whom, are they with whom we are fighting, but we are fighting with them over there. I think it sounds a little bit better. Pugnamus there, we are fighting. Pugno, pugnas, pugnat, pugnamus, pugnatus, pugnant. Pugnamus, first person plural, we are fighting. cum quibus there, quibus in the ablative of the relative pronoun. Tum aquileferum jugulo rapuit, ut eum in proelium contra hostes remitteret. I look at this sentence, and I'm thinking that those people that aren't so good at Latin are going to say, then the standard bearer did something. Those people that are good at Latin are going to be looking at aquileferum, they'll see the um ending, they'll recognize it as an accusative, and they'll put the subject in themselves, in the rapuit. Then he grabbed the standard bearer, jugulo, by the throat, ut, in order, remitteret, to send him into the battle against the enemy, in order to send him back into the battle against the enemy. Remitteret there is the imperfect subjunctive. Now, 2 points there. First of all, why is it the imperfect subjunctive? Well, it's the subjunctive because it is a purpose clause, ut, in order to send him back. So first of all, this is a purpose clause. Why is it the imperfect? Well, with our sequence of tenses, our initial verb is rapuit, which is in the secondary sequence. He took, not he has taken, not he takes in the present, it's he took. Therefore, our imperfect or our subjunctive must be in the imperfect. By this method, hoc modo, cum, when, a temporal clause here, when he monuiset, pluperfect subjunctive, when he had warned, unum militem, one soldier, manibus verbisque, with his hands and with his verbis and with his words, he readied it, he gave back, spem, hope, victoriae, genitive, of victory, toti exercitui, to the whole army. And that is the end of our first medium level unseen translation.